Vítejte u 4. dílu podcastu o lidském výkonu. Tentokrát jsem si pozval Johana Lahtiho, což je finský kondiční trenér, sportovní vědec, který se zaměřuje na rychlost a hlavně hamstringy. S Johanem jsme tenhle rozhovor udělali v Ostravě, kdy jsem ho pozval na workshop, ale také jako hlavního řečníka Speed Conference Ostrava. Bavili jsme se o nějakých typech pro rychlostní trénink, bavili jsme se i o jeho cestě, jak se dostal do jeho role, bavili jsme se i o hokeji, hlavně rozdíl Finsko versus Amerika, proč jsou třeba američtí hokejisti rychlejší a výbušnější a mnoho dalšího. Doufám, že se vám tento krátký rozhovor bude líbit. So, hey Johan.
Hello, Jan.
Nice to meet you and nice to have you on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So-called podcast. So what I like to do is always introduce somebody or anybody I have on my show with some story, if I have one. And with you, it's I'm going to take you back like almost 5 years back when I was walking with my stroller outside, and my daughter was just a baby. I was listening to podcasts, and one of them was actually with you. I think it was on Pacey. Is it possible?
Yeah, either Pacey or Just Fly Sports. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe Just Fly Sports, exactly. And you talk about hamstring, which and at this time and still to this day, it's a big topic for me and kind of really complicated one. And for the first time, I heard somebody really talk about hamstring, and it made a lot of sense that it was practical. So I was like, wow, this guy is really interesting. And he's from Europe, so I'm gonna fast forward at the time, and we are here, and you just did 1 hour, sorry, not 1 hour, you just did the whole day workshop, which was great. And tomorrow we're gonna present here in this beautiful spot for the full house, 100 people who are eager to know more. So
Very cool, yeah, very cool.
can you tell us, because you told me that everybody should have something like a niche, everybody should specialize in something, or at least for you it's a way to go. So how did you end up, or how did you pick speed training or hamstring?
I will try to condense this, but I guess in the end it's thousands of micro decisions where you think something it just makes sense for you. But I've always been, let's say, somebody that's a bit twitchy. So like I have good genetics for speed, but I've never got to use them because when I was a young boy, we moved a lot from country to country with my father's work, and that had an effect. I played football, and I was good at that, but then when I moved back to Finland, again, having to change a team, I didn't have the courage to do that. I regret that to this day, but then I got stuck in kind of like teenage years, just hanging out with my friends and not really doing sport properly. So I only noticed that I forgot that I was decently fast, and everything's relative, but competing with my friends and stuff like that. And until I went to the military, we had mandatory service in Finland, and then we just had these random races, and then I just noticed that why am I beating everybody in this? And it came to me as a surprise, like, oh wow, I'm good at this. I completely forgot, and then I just became more interested in general about training at that age, and the teenage years where you want to get bigger muscles to impress the ladies and stuff like this. But then I got back into sport again, actually in martial arts, and I started to get interested in, well, how do I make myself a better Thai boxer? And then I, of course, naturally was already biased towards using my strength of speed in the ring. So how do I further develop my strength? And that brought me into this biomechanics of speed. And I noticed that that's something that's amazing in how complex it is and how little we know. And I guess that since then, we're talking about now 2000, what would I say, 2010-ish? No, earlier, definitely, because I started my bachelor in 2009. So somewhere around maybe 2008, I really realized that this is something I want to pursue. And then like an addict, you just wanted more information. I just wanted more, and it was endless. And I actually have ADHD, nothing severe, but it definitely one tendency of ADHD, probably some of the listeners know this if they have them themselves, is that you can hyper-focus on something, but then you are you have issues with forgetting stuff. And but this was definitely something always for me, that if I was very interested in a topic, I could hyper-focus, and then if I wasn't interested in a topic, I had very difficult time concentrating. So I finally find something that made me feel fulfillment and a place in the world, as a coach. And of course, if I was interested in speed, and then I became interested also in hey, if I'm increasing your speed, then how will I do that without injuring you? And then slowly but surely, my questions were good enough that there were no studies done on the topic. And then I was like, well, the only way to find answers to this stuff within strength and conditioning realm is to actually do the research. So I went to Jyväskylä and surprised myself that I was okay with that. And I was never in a million years, if you ask my friends in high school, with my lazy years in life, I think, that I would have done a PhD later in life, they would have laughed, but that's life, you find something that takes you feel like it's natural to give everything you got to. So but yeah, that's my story.
This is very interesting, and actually, can you take us down the path? So you went to high school, then you had to go to military service.
Yeah.
But you didn't attend any university or anything, and then you just, because you noticed your fast and you started to be interested in it, you decided to go to like sport university.
Yeah, pretty much. My sister helped me make that decision also, because I was already interested in training from my teenage years for more like bodybuilding stuff. But I made for free training programs to my friends, and my sister was like, hey, why the hell don't you actually get paid for this? You can get an education. So then we're like, okay, I guess I'll search to go to get a bachelor. And then I noticed that I found everything super interesting, not just speed training, also endurance, everything in physiology and biomechanics was super interesting. And so then that's a beautiful feeling, I'm sure you've experienced it yourself, where you feel like you have a place in this world.
Yeah. It's the best. This is the best business to be in.
Yeah. Best and worst.
Yeah, I don't think financially, but you do something good for people, and you can move, and I think we'll be good. And once we get older, it's good for longevity and stuff like this. So there is really only pros. But tell me, you are still in your PhD years, or you finished?
I graduated, so I did my PhD 2017 between 2021. I defended my PhD then. And that was basically my question. The whole idea was that, or why that happened, was that during my master's I did a couple of studies, and I just kept on having questions that there were no answers to. So, and then I did a study with J.B. Morin, and then I was like, okay, I think I can do a PhD. I think I can actually, I do have the brain capacity to do this, because I underestimated myself pretty much my entire life. And just because nobody really pushed me. But finally I was in the right environment, and then long story short, we can talk about hamstrings later, but PhD-wise, I got a position in France and graduated 2021. I took a break from strength and conditioning during those years so I could focus on it. Then I moved back to Finland and have been coaching ever since. And now actually I'm going back to research, bit of a postdoc, but it's only on the side. It's extra stuff.
So right now your main work is for the club.
Yeah, so half of my work is in the gym that I'm a co-owner in Helsinki. So I have private clients there, and also just this stuff, doing lectures and stuff like this. But that's half of my work, and then the other half is working for the Jokerit Ice Hockey Club, where I'm 5 seasons now. I've been the U20 S&C coach, and now 2 seasons in charge of the youth development strength and conditioning program. So basic from U13 to U20, and that's my first leadership role really in life. And it's amazing because I got to build a project from scratch. Very much work, but it's very fulfilling because all the mistakes that are made is my fault. So there's nobody else to blame but me. But then success stories will also be like, hey, I've been involved in this. So there's it's quite stressful, you can imagine, but the project is still 2 years, and let's see what I pull off in that time.
So you can leave something behind you.
Yeah, and that project has a lot to do, in fact, with speed training. So, because in ice hockey we have a situation in Finland where we feel like we're falling back from North America, and it's a fact actually, according to NHL draft testing, we are behind compared to at least USA. And they have had amazing youth programs, and basically Finnish athletes don't have a problem with endurance really, but we need to develop speed, and then that basically is my job. How do we do this in a sustainable manner, and me bringing answers to that.
This is actually very interesting, and brings me to the point that a couple of years ago in Czech, maybe worldwide, there was this narrative that everywhere around the world, everybody in hockey will do like high intensity training, but Finland I think is known for being very good in hockey, and there was this narrative that you do a lot of aerobic stuff, long slow distances, stuff like this. Yeah. Is it really true?
Actually, I would say there's a lot of truth in it. So under ventilatory threshold training, basically zone 2 training, zone 1 training, that's a big thing in Finland. Mm-hmm. There's belief stuck to it too, but based on the evidence, based on my experience, based on my beliefs, I believe it's very valuable. However, it should be based on data. So is that a weakness for the athlete? The only way you're going to know that is testing the thresholds. So we actually do that now in at least our club, from U18 upwards, and next year from U16 upwards. So we kind of know what kind of wattage you're pushing at your first and second aerobic and anaerobic thresholds. We have lactate testing, so we don't do direct with gas mask. But anyway, so because we noticed that people that have a good aerobic base, in our experience, recover better. They recover not just better between shifts, but between training sessions. They have a high likelihood of, when they come in on Monday and we start the week again, they get more out of the session. If it's a speed session, they're recovered and ready for the session. So in terms of athleticism, we want to have a strong aerobic base, and that's my belief. But yeah, there's a limit, of course, there, because obviously they're not long distance runners. So at some point you're going to say, okay, this is enough. But yeah.
So USA basically started to beat you with speed.
Well, yeah. So the main tests they test power more. So power through mechanical power through counter movement jump tests and broad jump tests. And according to the statistics, the US have now beaten everybody in this. They're the world's best in this, and yeah. So something needs to be done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can totally relate to this because my background is actually American sports, and I spent some time this year and with American football, with soccer, with basketball, and some others endeavors. And they really are based in everything is strength, speed, power. They are really good at this. So I'm not even surprised. But I think you need both. So do you think it might be only like coincidence? They have maybe 1 or 2 good years with draft, because this is probably the statistics that's most relevant for you, that you trying to catch them in this race. So do you think it might turn out that it's maybe just they have good years and then might have some worst years?
Well, if they continue their program, I can't remember the acronym for their program, but their national program is, if they have that program in the same format, it's very unlikely that they will have issues or big shifts in trends. Of course, they will have some more talent, but we got to remember that country has 330 million people, and in some parts very endless resources. So they're going to have a relatively easy time recruiting people that have talent, and a relatively easy time training hard talent. And that's the big dilemma. So in Finland, or here in your country also, we're going to have a much more difficult time to, even though we find enough athletes, it's the most scary is that when you have talented athletes working hard, and smart, of course, hard and smart.
Yeah, that's well said, Johan. And I mean, like Finland and also Czech Republic, very good in ice hockey historically, and even to this day. So this is also very strange, or not strange, but something that should be studied.
Yeah.
But tell me, ice hockey and speed. It goes together, but you know what I mean. There are different sports, for like soccer, maybe athletics, where you can use your skill a little more, don't you think?
Well, so some people have argued for me that, for example, hockey is not such a speed sport, but then if we look at top velocities on ice, they're in average higher sometimes than football games. Like already in our cohort, in U20 level, the top speeds are 33 kilometers per hour. In every game, there's about that speed. So then you look at that age group in football, only the fastest players go that speed. And in professional, you go maybe to in football, some players go 35, 36, maybe world's best 38. But in ice hockey, I mean, it's professional level, it's a normal day to have 35. And so the top speeds are high. And that means if you have to stop quickly from that, it's demanding, but it's because of the ice and the friction, it's a bit different, as we know. But I would definitely say it's just a different type of speed, because you have more time, so thus it's more biased towards maximal strength versus elastic properties in the body. But it doesn't mean that elasticity is not important. But yeah, it's just a different type.
How would you compare demands for the hamstring muscle group, top speed on ice and on the pitch or on the track for?
Yeah. So what happens in general when you start to abduct your hip and derive more power outside of the frontal plane, the hamstrings reduce in their contribution, and the muscles that are now propelling you forward are more the adductors and the vasty group. And that's just simply because of the force vector and how it shifts, and that would be easy to draw. But the hamstrings still stabilize the knee, and so they're still important for, let's say, injury risk reduction at least. And of course, they're going to help to some extent hip extension, but it's not the same because you're not grabbing the ground in the same in ice hockey versus on field. So, or on ground. So yeah, that's the big difference, is just that shift in to the adductors. And but the hip flexors work pretty much both sports are very important. Yeah.
Okay, and so let's switch a little bit and speed training. I think it's a big question mark for most of the strength and conditioning coaches, and it's very hard. I speak for myself at least. And so, what do you think, or at least for you, is the easiest in training speed, or easiest for you, or maybe for the general pop of the strength and conditioning coaches? And what is maybe the most complicated or the hardest?
Okay, easiest way to train speed and hardest. Easiest way by far is mostly just doing speed training, because you still see a lot of populations when they first of all, they don't sprint, they just do gym work. If they sprint, it's like kind of like a warm-up only, and they don't do proper volumes and make sure there is maximal intent, have appropriate breaks, so it's not just endurance training. But yeah, that's by far the easiest. Just making sure you're going outside and running, and fast, maximal speeds, different distances, having appropriate breaks, having competitions, and that's just level 1. Yeah, 101. Just get a sprint every week, and not just once, ideally 2 to 3 times. What was the second part of the question?
What would be the hardest for?
Hardest, yeah.
Yeah, for you or for the other coaches, like to grasp on or to do like a training interventions, or what do you think is like it's really hard to get and grasp and then put it into interventions for our athletes?
Well, I would maybe find the most difficult part of once you get people that are, let's say, moderately fast, how to get them really fast. And the programming issue will be one of the biggest challenges, is that how will you periodize and program speed training into the microcycles of the week? And that's going to be a big challenge for certain levels. Because ultimately you will have the sacrifice of, because the sport requires endurance, you will have to give up speed to some extent. But then you can try to maximize every small detail, and programming is definitely one. Just making sure that you're putting it in the right spots of the week. But at some point that's not even enough. So then you just have to look at the other components. But yeah, I don't know if I answered your question completely, but
yeah, you did, and that's something I can confirm from my practice.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this is fair enough for me. My last 2 questions, or really one question divided maybe into 2 parts, will be low-hanging fruits in training and speed for maybe ice hockey, because this is your niche, and for running team sports.
Yeah, so definitely maximal strength training and just making sure they're getting appropriate volumes of speed training per week. Those are the big 2. And maximal strength training is done with, quality big exercises, progressive overload is used. They're not training like bodybuilders, so fatigue-wise, not huge fatigue spikes, so using potentially different programming methods to avoid high spikes in fatigue, peripheral fatigue that is. So like cluster sets and using scales of repetitions in reserve and velocity-based training. To be honest, I only use velocity-based training mostly. I don't use the zones. I just, whatever I do with the main exercises, I want intent. So if they have a big weight, of course, we want them, it's going to go slow up, but we want it to go as fast as possible. And it's the same idea with any weight. So creating a culture where intent is maximal if your technique is good. And those are the big, big things. And if you get somebody very strong in those big lifts, with having the mindset of intent is key, it will take you very far in speed development. That's something that people don't remember, that, okay, it's slow, but how does it transfer to speed? Well, it transfers because one big part of speed is your mechanical advantage to speed. Your muscle is the motor, but at a certain point, it won't help you anymore. But you will get far with this already.
Okay.
Yeah. Because how many athletes of you already, let's say, of my hockey athletes, I don't have many that actually can squat 2 times their body weight in a deep squat or something like this with good technique or something like this. So that takes a long time. That takes years of training, assuming you started young, which unfortunately many don't do. And then I don't use always power clean, but if you do 1.5 times your body weight with a great technique, that takes a long time. And especially, and big boys, you know, we're talking about 90 kilogram boys, you know, or men, and that would be, you know, doing 140 kilograms. So that's very
that's a lot.
Yeah. So it's simple things done with high quality for a long time. Okay. And that's one of the big challenges, right? Is keeping someone in a program for many years and keeping the progressive overload consistent. Yeah.
Okay, that will be all for today, Johan.
No worries.
Thank you for doing this, and thank you for your work, because you're contributing a lot to our, let's say, community of strength and conditioning coaches or performance coaches. And today you showed us a very knowledgeable guy.
Thank you.
Just keep doing what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to see you in the future.
Thank you, Jan.
Okay.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you. We good?
Yeah, we good.